right there. What is that? 25, please. Right on 25. Low is at 33. I don't know if you heard me hollering, but just I like the sound, just keep it moving. Cool. 25, right on it. 1. Right now, it kind of sounds like bad swing. And it needs to sound like a very good 6/8 marks, okay? No insult intended at all, but does that make sense? Yeah. So, that's okay. 73. Well, we have that big crescendo. Does everyone know what I'm talking about? Maybe? Yeah. 2 before 88. Woodwinds we have piano to support soundo. That just needs to be like a big sweep of sound. Clean together. Does that make sense? 79, please. Or I'm sorry, just right on that 2 before 88. 2 before 88. Here we go. That's like our big moment. Well, right there before the end, like 8 bars. You guys see what I'm talking about? Just lots of sound. Yeah. Cool. 112, please.
I'll go back to 95.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
95, please. Here we go. Together. Right? You want to have control to stick your taps. So you want to bounce it. So on your own now, if you want to practice that with both hands, you can do that, and I'll make sure you're getting it good. I'll move around the room, right? Make sure you're on the pad. Yeah, that was good. Make sure you're doing you guys should practice this most. So it helps you. Just want to back to your right away. we'll start with a quick warm-up, which is 8 on a hand. Oops, always get hands. Does anybody remember how we play 8 on a hand? You can just holler it out if you remember.
Yeah, 8 left, 8 right. Then 16 together?
Yeah, 8 with the left, I'm sorry. We're going to start with the right hand for today. So 8 with the right hand, 8 with the left hand, 16 together. So this is the tempo. We're getting from the metronome. Anybody remember what BPM stands for? Beats per minute. Good, thank you. So, yeah, good. We're going to do that one more time. Make sure you watch your hands. This time look down at your hands. Because what's happening is some of us start to turn our hand out so that our knuckles are no longer facing the ceiling, right? We always talk about having our knuckles facing the ceiling, right? So you don't want to end up like this with your thumbnails on top. You want to keep your knuckles up, right?
My finger keeps slipping.
That's okay. So let me turn this on. Everybody can play it once with her, and I'll come take a look. Everybody else, here's another rep. Here we go. 1, 2, ready. That's good. That's good. So part of what happened is you kind of looking at this with your fingertips, but you can actually have it towards the palm of your hand, like by where your finger weapon is. So where your fingers meet this, so that see how you kind of like this. Touch your fingers, you put it on your try to match with the 6 I'm using as well, right? So now I'm doing the same thing, but I'm switching back and forth. Good. Good. Both together. Let's try that one again. Cool, so now we're going to do that, but we're going to go around the room, right? So I'll play for 4 beats, we'll all play for 4 beats, and then Adonis will play for 4 beats. Yeah, you can play whatever you want. If you're nervous or in the heat of the moment, you don't know what to play, just do 1, 2, 3, 4 with the ball, okay? That's your fallback if you feel uncomfortable. So I'll go first, and then number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6.
Wait, that was so
It's
weird.
okay. Yep, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So from this side to that side, and the front. And I'll do a couple first, just to get it going, and then I'll tell you later. Any questions about that? You guys can play whatever you want. It's just got to be 4 beats. Okay? So only 4 beats. I'll go first. 1, 2. I'll go first. And I'll go a couple times. This is the standby. You don't know what to do. Good. Down. Here we go. Go ahead. Good. Go ahead. Good. That was good. Oh, I screwed it up. So now I'm going to do it. We'll go around one more time. Good. Good. Left, right, left, left. 1, 2, ready. Left, right, left, left. Cool. Let's do it 2 more times. 1, 2, ready, go. Left, right, left, left. Last time. Here we go. Left, right, left. Good. So now. So, adding to what Mr. Anderson was talking about with listening, a big component of that, even though we're not playing wind instruments, is breathing, right? Have you guys heard about this at all? Anything like that? Just like breathing together Just like, not like, right? Just like a really, like, and then the sound happens. Yeah? Let's try that from the beginning. Cellos and basses, you just kind of have to. You guys can do it right now. So, right there at the beginning. Yeah, did that feel better? Because it sounded better, like 100%. Do it again. Do it again. Violas and cello, make sure we rest on B1 there, yeah. Back to the beginning. So this is like very different than what you guys were doing earlier, right? At 23, that's faster. There's lots of like accented things and eighth notes and stuff like that. This, like really legato, yeah? This is Lights on the Water's the piece. So like this is like Still the Morning or whatever, right? All that, metaphorical stuff. But so use the full bow, but only slur when you have to, but we want that slurring kind of sound. Does that make sense? Like all the notes need to touch. Cool?
Cool.
Let's try at the beginning. Please. Yeah, okay. So I'll thank you, violins and other violins. Cellos and basses, for a little more clarity from me. Like these pizzicati though, like this is like, they're like, oh, it's the morning, it's beautiful. Like I love living on the lake, and you guys are like, ah. You guys know what's coming at 23. You know what I mean? So don't have it connected like we've been doing, but like, you know what I mean? Just like, go. Yeah? From the beginning. Does that make sense, or am I just like, this dude's crazy? Okay, from the beginning. If it sounds good, I don't care. You can think I'm crazy. So, here we go. Significantly better. And then the same thing goes for when you come in with the arco, even though we're not pitching anymore, like long and connected, but still like a little bit of like evil laugh. Cool. Here we go. From the beginning, my fault, from the beginning. Does that feel different? Do you guys feel anything?
Yeah.
Maybe?
Feels fine.
One
Seems
person?
good.
Okay. I appreciate it. Okay. We're going to start at 5 now. Going into 9, we all have this circle bow at the end of the bar. Is that correct? Except for the comma. Or the...
Bow lift.
Yeah, my fault. Bow lift. My fault. That's what we used to call it in school. I didn't get that out of my head.
Oh, God. Okay.
So, we all have it except for the bases, okay? So same thing like we talked about with the beginning. We're like resetting at like that. What did you call it?
Bow lift.
Bow lift into measure 9. So I never forget ever again. Bow lift. Yeah, I did. And we were like, okay. Okay, so let's start at 5. Really make sure, like we talked about with the breathing earlier at the beginning of the piece, we don't need to breathe necessarily at that circle bow, but there needs to be like an oral, audible, like break. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So at 5, please. Except for the bases. You guys keep on trucking. Here we go. Measure 5. So, at measure 9, I think it's actually the only bar so far. Yes. Measure 9, beat 4 is the only spot in the piece so far where everyone has a quarter note on the 4th beat. There's no 8th notes happening. So even though we don't have that, thank you. Even though we don't have that, like, literal physical, like 8th note presence to keep the music like moving forward, we have to create that even if there's not 8th notes running. Does that make sense? So it's at 9 is 1, 2, 3, and 4, 1, right? You gotta push into 1 because we can't lose that sense of motion. Cool? Because it's like slow, it's lyrical, it's like, oh yes, we sound so good. But like, if you start like, I'm a trombone player too, we call it tone bathing. And you're like, oh, we just sound so good. And then it starts to drag, and then like nobody wants to play it anymore. You know what I mean? So keep the motion going. So start at 9, please. Right at 9, everyone.